We're like the bride though, Autumn, we can't actually do it.
What's that?
We're like the bride.
The
The bride's never late.
We can't have me without us.
Oh,
We can't have a wedding without the bride.
Beyond. Not a problem. Well, juice.
Oh, there. All right.
I mean, this is not a better look, right? You're strategic, aren't you? Yeah, we're behind the.
Is Leo promoted?
He doesn't need to be.
He does not, okay.
If it's, if there's item, if there's any questions, Chris can send it.
Because Michael will, well, actually, Michael.
Yeah, Michael.
Yes,
Good
yes.
evening, everyone. We're going to be starting in just a minute. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, so when this is green, it means it's operating?
Yeah, and actually the mics are just for the room.
Oh, excellent.
So it's this little white thing that is the audio for that. So we don't even really, I don't even think we need the mics for the room. I think it's mostly for the audience and there's nobody here. So
Are you guys doing temperature hot, cold, good?
perfect.
All right.
Wow, you guys kind it for me.
Hey, Mr. Chair, I think whenever you're ready.
All set to go? All right. Well, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Monday, December 12th meeting of the Yolo County Transportation District Board of Directors. I'm calling the meeting to order. It's now 7:10. And Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum? Would you call roll, please?
Yolo County,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
West Sacramento. City of Winters.
Here.
City of Woodland,
Here.
UC Davis,
Here.
Caltrans.
Alex is, yeah, he is here online, yeah.
Alex, could you speak again? I just want to make sure the audio is working.
Here.
Great. Can everybody hear Alex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay. And University was here.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a quorum. Today's meeting is being held both in person and on remote, I think it's Zoom platform, so that people can participate if they're not present. We do have some of our contractors and Caltrans are remote. When we do public comment, we'll give opportunity for people both in the room and remotely to provide input to us, both on the consent calendar as well as on other items that come up in the later part of the agenda. And I think that by this point, I think everybody knows how to do that. And if anybody has a problem, we'll navigate it. The second item on our agenda is comments from public regarding matters on the consent calendar. That's a calendar number 3 with several elements within it, or on items that are not on the agenda, but within the purview of this agency. We will take comment on specific items later on. I don't see anyone in the room who has a public comment. Is there anyone online who would like to make a public comment?
I don't see any public comments at this time.
No public comments requested. So that brings us to item 3, the consent calendar. Is there anything to remove, Autumn?
No, Mr. Chair.
Does any member of the board have anything you'd like to bring up for discussion?
Happy to move the consent calendar as submitted. Second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Director Frericks and a second from Director Stallard to approve the consent calendar. Would you please call roll? And we'll do that by going through the roll call because we do have people not present.
Yolo County,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
West Sacramento. City of Winters. City of Woodland,
Aye.
UC Davis.
Oh, they don't vote.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we get cake.
All right. Okay, well, thank you. That passed unanimously and moves us to item 4, which is administrative reports. Autumn, do you have anything you'd like to say? And then you're opening it up to general questions.
Yes, I will give just a brief oral report and then open it up to questions. So we did send out the executive director's report on Friday. I just want to highlight a couple of things. The first is that we're very excited, starting January 15th, we're going to be fully implementing our Yolo Go Route 42 changes. So, we did in the morning, in September, we did, so it's now 30-minute service in the morning. Starting January 15th, it'll be a 30-minute service in the afternoon. So fully implementing that service change that had been envisioned. So we're very excited about that and appreciate Michael and his team for working miracles with their limited workforce in order to make that happen. I also want to note that we had a very interesting technical advisory committee meeting that I just want to highlight. The notes are in your packet. This was a kind of a continuation of some of the board conversation as part of our vision, values, and priorities discussion about what more expanded role YCTD could play with regard to coordinating major transportation capital improvements in the county. So had a series of great conversations with folks from our various jurisdictions, and then I think, very productive meeting where there was broad support for YCD playing a more active role. And so we're going to be continuing to work with our technical advisory committee as well as the board and citizens advisory committee over the coming months as part of our strategic planning process to flesh out what that looks like. But it felt like an important milestone, and I just wanted to share that. And then lastly, just want to welcome Heather Chaffee, our new executive assistant and clerk of the board. This is her first meeting, and very, very happy to have Heather on board. We definitely threw her in the deep end her first week or two, and she keeps coming back. So just please join me in welcoming her and thanking her for being here.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions of Autumn? And then we'll turn to board members for your reports. Any questions of what Autumn shared? Okay. Colleagues, does any member of the board have anything you'd like to share?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to mention that the city manager of Woodland and our head of community development, and also city engineer, and Spencer, everybody knows Spencer does communication for us, came over and had a nice sit down with Autumn. We were so appreciative. Right, and our
Very.
sorry, blanking. But anyway, it was really very nice. And I just urge all of you to consider having a sit down every now and then, just to make sure the lines of communication are as good as we can make them, because we all really want to work closely together going forward. But thank you, Autumn. We've certainly enjoyed our visit with you.
So if no other reports from board, I'd just like to say that this is for the public who will be watching this in years to come. This is the final meeting that I will be a member of this board. I'm not continuing my service as a member of the Board of Supervisors after December of 2022. And I'm really pleased that I'll be succeeded by a champion, one Lucas Frericks, who I couldn't wish for a better successor. And I'm so proud of the work that this agency has done, and especially in the last couple of years. And Autumn Bernstein, we are so pleased to have you serving as the executive director for Yolo County Transportation District as we chart a whole new future for this agency. Based on our ongoing and longstanding statutory authority, we're going to fully realize it. Thanks to you, Autumn. So thank you all for your partnership. This is one of the best things we've done together.
Yeah.
You're here.
So TransDev, do you have something you'd like to report? Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, we're doing well as far as manpower. We have 54 available pieces of work, and we have 54 operators to cover all of them. Also, and within that, imagine some of them are extra board, which is for call-offs, vacations, coverage like that. Our number is actually higher, but we have 6 folks that are out on leave of absence right now. Unfortunately, some of them are going to be a short term, and then we have 3 in training right now. So we're doing well moving forward.
Very good. Any
Do you have any
questions?
other questions?
No. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have anything further to report under the administrative reports? Or you're
Nothing further
okay.
from me.
I commend you all to take a look at the written 80 managed lane monthly report, and I think you're going to be continuing to provide that as an ongoing series.
That's right, yeah.
So there's some good information there. You can see what's been going on. And I think in the consent calendar, we approved the 2023 meeting schedule. And the long-range calendar, I would again just suggest you take a look at that because it's an ambitious schedule with a lot of meaty substantive topics coming up for y'all. And I think that brings us to item 5.
Yes, and unfortunately, Chris Quanley, our communications and marketing specialist, is out sick today. He's got one of the viruses that is going on. So I am going to be doing my best to fill in on this item. So Heather, if you wouldn't mind sharing the slide deck, I will do what I can.
Uh-oh.
Well, maybe while Heather's working on that, I'll just start with a little bit of a refresh in terms of, as you may recall at our last meeting, we had a couple of different logos that were shared. And so as part of that, we had some discussion both about the merits of the different logos, as well as the kind of the topic of whether or not, there we go, it's payday. As well as the question of whether or not we should continue to use the word county in our name, or whether or not there was some merit in removing the word county from our name. And the board generally seemed to have preference for the first logo, the first of the two, and also thought it made sense to support dropping the word county from our name. Therefore, us becoming Yolo Transportation District, or Yolo TD, as I am now trying to train myself to say, pending your action tonight. So the other thing that you directed staff to do was to solicit some feedback from the communication staff at our member jurisdictions, and we did. I know Chris talked with both with Spencer at the City of Woodland and also with Jenny Tan at the City of Davis, and got some feedback from them. And based on that, we have what that's in your packet and it's here on the screen. Yolo TD, this logo with the kind of the D having some arrows in it, which kind of indicates kind of forward motion. And there's a couple different pages here, and I don't know what all these different things are for, but there's just lots of different images, all kind of reinforcing that brand. And I guess my thought is that these would be different, different ways this logo would be used in different contexts. So anyway, what I would love to do is just hear your feedback on this. We are, I think, as Chris mentioned at our last meeting, we have our new Yolo TD website is ready to go. So this is complementing the Yolo bus website, which is all very much oriented towards our transit service. The Yolo TD website will be about everything else that Yolo TD does. So once we have the logo approved, we will move forward with launching that new website. So with that, I'd love to just come hear your reactions and any questions you may have, thoughts on this new brand.
Great, thank you. Exciting.
Okay.
Let's start with Matt and then Jesse.
Yeah, thank you, Autumn. Mine is just a first clarification. And I think you just said this, but I want to make sure I have it in my mind the right way. Would Yolo Bus continue to operate as Yolo Bus?
Yes.
And then the district would now operate as Yolo Team?
Correct, yeah. And there historically was no YCTD brand. It was just Yolo Bus. And so we've used Yolo Bus as the kind of the logo and the brand that we use for everything. And so this was meant to be kind of like, I guess, a family of brands. And again, this is not my expertise, but we would have Yolo Bus, we would have Yolo TD. We're also engaged in a branding exercise for our micro transit service, which is currently Your Ride, Yolo Urban Rural Connections. That is going to be rebranded as well. So, and we're still working on the name, but it will also be Yolo something. Okay. So the idea is that everything would start with Yolo, but then we would have these different kind of sub-brands associated with that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Jesse, please.
Yeah, I really appreciate the explanation. I love the logo. I love that we are in this time period where we have rebranded and where we have restructured. And now we have the logo to match our ambitious new plan. So good job. Thank you.
Comments, Tom?
I'm happy. Thank you.
Lucas?
Yeah. I think that'd be good.
Well, me too. I think it's an exciting look, and I like that it can be morphed into various shapes and colors to get the message out. And I think it does, it carries the message. And the idea of, we've done it with the food bank has changed to Yolo Food Bank instead of Yolo County Food Bank. Yolo County Housing Authority changed from Yolo to Yolo Housing. So I think it's aligned with those efforts. It doesn't take anything away. In fact, it makes it more clear that it's not a Yolo County government entity, but an entity that serves all of Yolo County. I like it a lot. So do we need you'd like a motion to approve this?
Yes, yes, I would love a motion to approve the logo and the kind of, I don't think we're legally dropping county from our name at this point, but just in terms of our branding.
You know, the truth is you don't have to change any of our legal paper. We can call ourselves Yolo Transportation District, operate pursuant to the existing. Well, of course, you're the lawyer. What am I? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want your job.
You can have it.
Jim, do you have anything to add on that?
No, I believe it's fine. I mean, on official contracts and other documents that come to the board, you will certainly still see the legal entity's given name. However, for the purposes of branding and how people know us and learn us, that will just continue to go under the new letterhead, which will be much more recognizable.
I want to be sure that we ask for public comment. Sorry, I didn't do that a minute ago. Is there anybody who'd like to address this topic before we take a motion?
Public comment at this time.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Lauren was on.
Okay, is there a second?
Wait a second, that.
All right, so we have a motion from Director Lauren and a second from Director Ferricks. Please call the roll. The motion is to approve the branding package as presented.
Yolo Cantor,
Yes.
Davis.
Aye.
City Winters,
Aye.
City Woodland.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we move to item 6, the selection of the chair and vice chair. And you see in the package the rotational pattern that we adopted over the years and the timing that we to change this year to have it be a calendar year appointment consistent with the appointments of our member jurisdictions. So may I make the motion? I will make the motion to officially appoint Tom Stallard, our current vice chair, to serve as chair for the calendar year 2023.
Happy to second.
Second. Are there any other nominations?
Yolo Cantor,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
City Winters.
Aye.
City Woodland.
Given so that passed, Tom, thank you for stepping in to serve us. We appreciate it.
Big shoes to fill, Don.
They were the big, I filled the big ones before you. The ones that came.
I'm wearing nice.
No, we've got a wonderful series of leadership and shared leadership. Jesse is the chair before me, Lucas at the time.
Here, here.
So good, nice work. And then, in fact, the next vice chair will come from the city of Davis. We simply don't know who that's going to be yet. We have our hopes and dreams and suspicions, but there's not been an appointment. And so we'll wait until January for that.
Yeah, I believe they're finished making all their appointments on January 3rd.
So that should work for this time. Is there any other business?
Mr. Chair.
All right, well, we're done then. So I guess we'll go ahead and adjourn at 7:27. Meeting is over.
And a
Thank you
happy
all.
holiday season.
Happy-
Thank you.
Happy
Happy holidays.
Yes.